Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are having the most beautiful day. I hope you had a great week. I totally love to hear about it. If you want to tell me, if not, totally fine. Keep your secrets. I won't blame you. Sometimes I don't feel that chatty on Sundays either. But who do we got? Hi, PSO Addict. Thank you for the check-in. Welcome in. Hey, Soon-kun. Thank you for the check-in. Welcome in. Squirrel Tactics. Thank you so much for the resub. 37 months. My goodness, Squirrel. I am so happy you are still here. And I promise I will continue to protect you. And you will always be welcome. And you will always be welcome in my den. All aboard the hype train. Holy moly, we just started. TC, welcome in. TC, I've been seeing you live on Twitch. I see you. I've been watching you in the background. Hi, TC. Welcome in. Yes, you do. I just saw the notification. Shut your mouth. I saw the notification. Where is it? Saturday, August 15th at 7:13 p.m. TC went live. Val premiere. #burger. Streaming Valorant. I saw it. You cannot lie. Oh my gosh. Hi, Billy. Thank you for the check-in. Welcome in. Rusty, thank you for the check-in. Hey, Rusty. Oh my gosh, my lovely mod Europe. Thank you so much for the resub. Happy 2-year anniversary for being a subscriber. You are so welcome in my den. I hope you still like it here. And I am so happy you're here. You're very, very thankful for you. And all of you. Guys, check out TC. He's totally lying, but he does indeed stream. Check him out. Or don't. Sorry to shout him out, but it's too late. I did it. I upgraded his internet package in the basement, so he can do that now. How are we doing? Where are you? How are you guys doing today? I want to know. Tell me about it. I hope you guys had a good week. We have a new emote. You can see it on the top right, or where is it? What the crap balls? Why am I not seeing it in my thing? Oh, here it is. Yay! It's just a little like I saw somebody with it on VGen and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I'm gonna get one. So if you want one for yourself or your favorite streamer, you can find it here for $35 hairs. They even put the little hearts in my eyes. I know you guys can't see it, but I was like, oh, thank you for including that. Is very, very cute. They also have a variety of other emotes that are really cool. I have one more slot for an animated emote, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But yeah, I thought, oh, this is so cute. I want one. So I have something else in the works too, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. Okay. Toasty is hot to go. HOTTOGO. For a while, I was like hot to go out. I really wish Chapel Roan would come out with some new music. Do you guys remember that era when I wouldn't shut up about Chapel Roan? Like I was like non-stop talking about her. Anyways, actually, okay, hold on. I am going to talk about her a little more. So, Noah Callahan, I don't know how you say his name. Noah something, who sings Stick Season, incredible song, is on tour right now. And while he was in LA, he brought Chapel Roan up on stage to duet California, which I don't really like the song California, but it's still it is a good song still. It's not my favorite. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not my favorite. But I did really enjoy their rendition of it. So I really wish you would come out with some new music. When I cried from that one song, Subway, there's a few songs of hers that made me cry. Coffee by Chapel Roan makes me cry when I hear it. So she do be jamming. I do be jamming. Okay, let's see. I was last here on Wednesday, so let me give you guys some updates about where I've been at in life. Thursday, I don't think I did anything on Thursday. I actually think I stayed home. But for Friday, I went out dancing. You should be dancing. Yeah. So I went out dancing on Friday and it was sneaker night and it was so good. So great. One of my friends showed up a couple hours late, so that kind of sucked. But other than that, it was popping. The music was bumping. Since we all wore our sneakers, we were all putting in twice the work. And I know I say this every time, guys, but I really was putting in some of my best work that night. Like, literally, I moved, shake, and dropped all night. It was so freaking good. The very next day, my feet hurt a little bit in the morning, but then they were great by the evening. I don't normally wear sneakers to dance. Oftentimes I'm in my cowboy boots, if you can believe it. Or I'll wear like some platform heels, which I can still dance in for many hours. But like I was in like my sneakers. So, but yeah, I would say no, I'm not usually wearing my sneakers to dance. I feel like that would be harder. Cowboy boots are great. Oh, Bale, welcome in, and thank you so much for the resub. Happy 10 months. Ooh, we're getting close to our anniversary. Ooh, you are so welcome in my den. And I am so happy you are still here. I'm laughing because of TC's comment. I am so happy you are still here, Bayo. 8 months in a row, we're going strong. But 10 months total. That's pretty awesome. What's your follow age, actually, Bayo? And how are you? Look, Toaster from streaming. I can now fly. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Also, thank you for the shout out, but I don't stream now. Okay, I guess I just imagined it. How about I remove the limits entirely and dance in my socks? That is disgusting, and I will not be doing that. By the end of the night, the floors are so sticky and wet. They're nasty. There's no way I would ever, like, oh, that's so gross. In my socks? No, that's so gross. 1 year, 1 month, 22 days. Oh, I thought it was a clean place. It's because people spill their drinks on the floor. Gotta let them dogs out. No, I will not be in a game still here. I did play a lot of Hearthstone on Thursday, so I know I did that. Friday, what did I do on Friday? Oh yeah, Friday I went dancing. Saturday, I had a chill night, hung out with some friends. It was a really good time. Just shoot the ish. Had some delicioso wings, which were so dang good, and I really enjoy like the celery and carrots that comes with wings, so I always end up eating everybody's wings because I just like them. Europe, 2 years, 8 months, 9 days. Europe had to make sure we were official before he started subscribing. I'm just kidding, Europe. 8 months. Ooh, Billy, 4 months until we hit a year. And then today I went to brunch with the girls, and it was like Western themed. We decided, so I brought out my cowboy hat and my cowboy boots or whatever, which was great. Although everybody else, like 2 girls wore their boots, another girl wore heels. I was definitely the most Western. I was a little embarrassed walking outside in my hat. So far, what the heck? Why did my model freeze like this? Hello? Hello? Okay, well, I guess I'll restart the YouTube studio. I don't know what the heck that was. How long it takes to be an important person. You are an important person. There was a little gap where I didn't come as often. I know my face did look disappointed. You are a very important person, PSO addict. We're married in Cult of the Lamb. But yeah, the brunch was really good, and then afterwards I hung out with them, with my homies, for a little bit longer. Went to like a neat dessert place, got an old timey soda, and that was the tea. And then I came home, and I've just been chilling. Yeah, I've just been chilling. That's it. Also, guys, my fish died. I don't know if I told you guys about that, but it's dead. So, yep. R.I.P. to the beta. Probably gonna get more fish here soon. And that is the tea. You have an arraignment tomorrow for a red light camera ticket. I've been writing legal motions. As far as I can tell, this is a novel reasoning never heard before in court. I'm at 10 pages, single space. Holy crap. I didn't even know they did stuff like that. Like, do you give it to the judge, or have I gotten tickets before? No. This is my first one. I've only been pulled over one time, and it was when I was 16, or no, 15. The officer didn't think I was old enough to be driving, and my dad was in the car with me. He was like, does she have a learner's permit? Is she old enough to be driving? So that's the only time I've ever been pulled over. So yeah, I've never been pulled over, and I have no tickets, knock on wood. Okay, Some announcements and update on work. They have loaded 35 hours for my work week. Usually it's a crap ton of hours, but right now with work TC, I've been on forced PTO. Like I had to take 40 hours of PTO last week, which really really freaking sucked because I was saving that. Um but this upcoming week they only have 35 hours loaded for billable hours. Yeah, it's because of some like a contracting accounting error essentially. Like it's because of their blunder, which really really it really sucks. Um but I have 35 hours loaded, so tomorrow I'm going into work for 3 hours and then I'll go home, and then they're doing 8 8 8 8. So I'll be in the rest of the week from Tuesday to Friday, and then after that, who knows what's going to happen, because they say that's supposed to get me through the 28th, and they were like, if we don't have this solved by the 28th, like you'll just have to take LWAP. So that really really sucks. And I've just been at home. I went to the beach on Tuesday, right? And then I've just been filling my time by catching up on things that I've wanted to do, cleaned out some spaces, donated some stuff, cleaned the floors, did a little bit of shopping. Like I've just been kind of chilling, guys. It's actually been really nice sleeping in. I get up for work usually at like 5 a.m., like 5 to 5:30 a.m. So I've really been enjoying just sleeping and having my slow mornings. Tomorrow when I get off work, I have a eye exam at noon, and that's really all I have going on, because I'm only going to work for 3 hours tomorrow, and then I'll do 8 8 8 8. So that is the tea. That's what's going on in life. Okay, I have been rambling. I know my jobs are weird, and I actually really am gonna try to find a hybrid or remote job here soon. This has really put a sour taste in my mouth. For this company, even though like I want to love them because the owner seems so nice. Like the owner called me and was like, hey, I'm really sorry about what's going on, the government, da 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 da, this and that. And I was just like, okay, yeah, like I mean there's not really anything I could do about it, you know. So I'm not so much worried about the finance part. I'm irritated that I had to take my own PTO that I was saving for my trips coming up. Like I was doing my due diligence, right? Trying to be responsible because I just started this job. So I was like, I better not take any days off. I better just keep working and hold on to this PTO just for it to get wiped out by their error, right? Like that really sucks. So now when I have my trips, I guess I'll just take LWAP or use the little bit of PTO that I accrue from now until then. So that sucks, but sorry about that. I was just in a crazy game. I was doing so well. I've been having some great games on Hearthstone. What have you been playing, Billy? Let me go ahead and get the virtual cottage loaded up so we can start this reading endeavor. But that's what's been going on in the world of Toast. So yeah, I've just been enjoying my free time of doing not much. It's actually given me a lot of time to just slow down. I've like loved and hated being at home. I love it, right? Because I'm at home and I have freedom. I've hated it because I have too much time. So then I have to try and figure out what to do. And I did find myself doing a lot of doom scrolling. I had to like catch myself and be like, no, Toast, like let's try to do something productive. Just too much time. Yeah, like because like my friends are all employed now. Well, they're not employed. One is unemployed. So it's the one who I went to the beach with, but I'm just like, man, like what am I gonna do? I don't just want to work out all day. You've been drawing? Ooh, what have you been drawing? Share my day with us? It's true, 5 days a week. No, because I've been like trying to enjoy the slowness. So I did think about streaming more, but I was like, I know I'm gonna have to go back to work eventually, so why don't I just enjoy this 1 week? I'll tell you what though, if it goes beyond, like if after this week they don't have it solved, I'll probably throw in some extra streams, because that beats doom scrolling. Truthfully, that is what I should have been doing, is being here with you guys instead of doom scrolling. Because I did do a lot of that. Ugh. Just accidentally take a cruise. If I am traveling out of the country, I have to give a 30-day notice in advance. If you have like a security clearance, that's like one of the rules for some people. So it depends on where you work. That's a rule for me. So I can't accidentally take a cruise unless I give them notice. If I tell them less, like the last time I took a cruise, it was a short notice one. and I got a really stern talking to, so I have to wait to do it in 30 days in advance. So what I'm gonna start, international waters. Yeah, unfortunately it does. I was like, what if you don't leave the ship? Like, what if you just stay on the ship and you don't go into the port? And they were like, it still counts, like you're supposed to notify us. So what I can do is I can say, hey, I'm thinking about going out of the country in, you know, from sometime during these few months, and that counts as notifying them. So that's how I'm gonna get away with it going forward. Also, cruises are expensive. You'll send me it in a bit. You just finished your 3rd piece yesterday. I can't wait to see it, TC. Just don't tell them. But what if they find out? You live by the beach, come hang out. Okay, PSO Addict, bet. I would love that. Okay, let's talk about this book. You took off for a few days because you're exhausted. You spent a full day doom scrolling and you felt like, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. But also, like, isn't it just nice to, like, sit down and do nothing? Let me, I'm trying to see something. Let me see what's up with TC's thing before I do this. I don't even have to tell them how long I'll be gone, Bayo. I hereby give notice that will be leaving out of the country for undetermined amount of days every month. That's funny. Oh, he's just a little guy. The guy with the purple eyes is so cute. Wow, TC, what the heck? Pull in case of late stream. Game select. I'm zooming into all your stuff. You put your name on the trash can? Wow. Reminder push out stream schedule. Feed chat in basement. Cute. That's your watermark. I see that now. I love this. There's not one on the little guy. Or is there? No, there's not. Very cute, TC. I love that. Share your art with me, guys. I am not an artiste. That's your Saturdays. Doom scrolling. And then driving down to Mexico counts. Yes, going to Mexico does indeed count. That's my Saturday. I hate feeling like I wasted a day. It gives you anxiety. There should be that little guy as my OC. Oh, cute. Okay, guys, let's talk about this book. I did indeed I'm taking it out of the bag right now, out of the Barnes & Noble bag. It is a New York Times bestseller. I wanted a book by Freida McFadden. The book that I actually wanted by her is called Never Lie. Because you know I never lie. But I couldn't find it anywhere at Barnes & Noble. It was out of stock. So I went with another Freida McFadden book. This one is called The Housemaid's Secret. She has a bunch of books called The Housemaid Whatever, and they're not connected. They're all their own individual standalone stories, so it's totally okay if you don't read all of them. I triple checked. I didn't read the back of it at all. I just looked up books by Freida McFadden that have no sluttiness in them, and this came up along with Never Lie. Never Lie was the #1 pick, but this one was also another one, and it does have romance in it. All I know about it is it has an eyeball on the front with a little keyhole. That seems to be how all of the housemaid covers look, and it says, "This perfect home has one rule, don't look behind closed doors." And that's all I know about it, because I told myself I wasn't going to read the back. So we'll go ahead. I'm going to check to see how many chapters there are in this. Actually, I'm going to Google so I don't accidentally read something in the back. On the last one, like I said, I read in the back, or the very last page of the last chapter, or the first page of the last chapter, and that's how I saw, like, one of the spoilers. So, smut-free diet of books. Do we know what is the premise of the book? It is a psychological thriller with a little bit of romance in it, and that's all I know. But let me Google how many chapters are in here. How many chapters are in The Housemaid's Secret? 74 chapters, along with a prologue and an epilogue. So like 76? Brother. 76. like that. What? Am I dumb, y'all? Why am I not liking this? How many chapters should I read each night? If there's no, do you want the truth? PSO addict. So in the last book, right, there were 60 chapters. So I read what? 9 each time. It's gonna depend on how long the chapters are. That's true. 76. Why am I struggling with this? With 6 chapters? How about I go? Yeah, I'll start with 2, 2, and 2, and we'll see how that feels, guys. Very good suggestion, Yerp. Well, hold the phone. Hold the phone. I say we get into it and kind of vibe and see how many chapters naturally fits into a good night. That's also a good idea. Rusty, how many pages? There are... There are 327. What's 9 plus 10? 21? It's actually 19, but okay, we're gonna start with 2, 2, and 2, and we'll see how that feels. Okay, because I like to keep it a little fresh, right? A little nice, but I will not count the... Yes, there is a new emote. Yes, I got it for 35 doll hairs. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I will not count the prologue, so I'm gonna read the as like part of the 2. So I'm gonna read the prologue, unless it's unusually long. Then we'll do 2, 2, and 2. Okay. Actually, no. I'm just gonna read the prologue plus 2, and then 2 chapters, and then 2 chapters. Well, we'll just see how that goes. Okay. So let's get into it, right? We will be reading this until we finish it, right? So, and after this, we will be heading back into the world of Bridgerton to finish my last Bridgerton book. So enjoy this step away from romance while we are here. It's a paper book. Does it have a dedication? I do like to read those. What the heck's? Okay, there's no dedication. Nah. Hate that. Okay, let's get into it for real. Prologue. Tonight, I will be murdered. Lightning flashes around me, illuminating the living room of the small cabin where I'm spending the night and where my life will soon reach an abrupt end. I can just barely make out the wooden floorboards below, and for a split second, I imagine my body splayed out on those floorboards, a pool of red spreading beneath me in an uneven circle, seeping into the wood. My eyes open, staring into nothing, my mouth slightly ajar, a trickle of blood running down my chin. No. No. Not tonight. Once the cabin goes dark again, I grope blindly in front of me, moving away from the comfort of the sofa. The storm is bad, but not bad enough to cut off the electricity. No, somebody else is responsible for that. Somebody who has already taken one life tonight and expects that I will be next. It all started with a simple cleaning job, and now it might end with my blood being mopped off the cabin floor. I wait for another flash of lightning to show me the way, then I move carefully in the direction of the kitchen. I don't have a plan in mind, but the kitchen contains potential weapons. There's an entire block of knives in there. Short of that, even a fork might come in handy. With my bare hands, I'm a goner. With a knife, my chances might be slightly better. The kitchen contains large picture windows that bring in a bit more light than in the rest of the cabin. My pupils dilate, straining to absorb as much as possible. I stumble toward the kitchen counter, but after taking 3 steps on the linoleum, my feet slide out from under me and I fall hard on the floor, cracking my elbow bad enough to bring tears to my eyes. Although, to be fair, there were already tears in my eyes. As I attempt to scramble back to my feet, I realize that the kitchen floor is wet. Lightning flashes again, and I look down at my palms. They are both stained crimson. I didn't slip on a puddle of water or some spilled milk. I slipped on blood. I sit there for a moment, taking inventory of my body. Nothing is hurting. I'm still intact. That means the blood isn't mine. Not yet, anyway. Move. Move now. It's your only chance. This time I am more successful in getting to my feet. I reach the kitchen counter, breathing a sigh of relief as my fingers make contact with the cold, hard surface. I grope around for the block of knives, but I can't seem to find it. Where is it? And then I hear the footsteps growing closer. It's hard to judge, especially since everything is so dark, but I'm pretty sure there is now somebody in the kitchen with me. All the hairs on my neck stand up as a pair of eyes bore into me. I am no longer alone. My heart sinks into my stomach. I have made an incredibly bad judgment call. I have underestimated an extremely dangerous person. And now, I will pay the ultimate price. Part 1. Chapter 1. Millie. 3 months earlier. After an hour of scrubbing, Amber DeGraw's kitchen is just about spotless. Considering that, as far as I can tell, Amber seems to eat almost all her meals from restaurants in the area. It feels like the effort isn't quite necessary. If I had to put down money, I'd bet she doesn't even know how to turn her fancy oven on. She has a beautiful, enormous kitchen filled with appliances that I'm fairly sure she has never even used once. She has an Instant Pot, a rice cooker, an air fryer, and even something called a dehydrator. It seems somewhat contradictory that somebody who has 8 different kinds of moisturizer in her bathroom also owns a dehydrator. But who am I to judge? Okay, I judge a little. But I have carefully scrubbed down every single one of these unused appliances, cleaned the refrigerator, put away several dozen dishes, and mopped the floor until it's shiny enough to almost see my reflection. Now, all I have to do is put away the last load of laundry, and the DeGraw's penthouse apartment will officially be as clean as a whistle. Millie! Amber's breathless voice floats into the kitchen, and I wipe a bit of sweat off my forehead with the back of my hand. Millie, where are you? In here, I call out, even though it's fairly obvious where I am. The apartment, which has merged 2 adjacent apartments into one Uber apartment, is large, but it's not that large. If I'm not in the living room, I'm almost certainly in the kitchen. Amber floats into the kitchen, looking her usually impeccably sleek self in one of her many, many designer dresses. This one is zebra printed with a plunging V-neck and sleeves that taper at her slender wrists. She's paired the dress with matching zebra printed boots, and while she does look achingly beautiful as always, part of me is not sure if I should compliment her on her outfit or hunt her on safari. There you are, she says with a hint of accusation in her voice, as if I'm not exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm just finishing up, I tell her. I'll just grab the laundry and... Actually, Amber interrupts me, I'm gonna need you to stay. I cringe internally. I clean for Amber twice a week, but I also do other errands for her, including babysitting her 9-month-old daughter, Olive. I try to be flexible because the pay is fantastic, but she's not great at asking in advance. It feels like all my babysitting jobs here are on a strictly need-to-know basis, and apparently I don't need to know until about 20 minutes before. I've got a pedicure, she says with all the gravity of somebody informing me that she will be heading to the hospital to perform heart surgery. I need you to keep an eye on Olive while I'm gone. Olive is a sweet little girl. I absolutely don't mind keeping an eye on her, usually. In fact, there are times when I would jump at the chance to earn a little cash at the exorbitant per-hour rate Amber gives me, which allows me to keep a roof over my head and eat food that isn't scavenged from a garbage can. But right now, I can't do it. I have class in an hour. Oh, Amber frowns, and quickly makes her face blank again. She told me the last time I was here that she read an article about how smiling and frowning are the leading cause of wrinkles, so she's trying to make her expression as neutral as possible at all times. Can't you skip it? Don't they have the lectures recorded, or some transcript you could get? They don't. Furthermore, I have skipped 2 classes in the last 2 weeks because of last-minute babysitting requests from Amber. I've been trying to get my college degree, and I need a decent grade in this class. And anyway, I like the course. Social psychology is fun and interesting, and a passing grade is crucial for my degree. I wouldn't ask you, Amber says, if it wasn't important. Her definition of important may differ from mine. For me, important is graduating from college and getting that social work degree. I'm not sure how a pedicure could be that important. I mean, it's the tail end of winter. Who's even gonna see her feet? Amber, I start to say. As if on cue, a high-pitched wail comes from the living room. Even though I'm not officially babysitting Olive right now, I usually keep an eye on her whenever I'm here. Amber takes Olive to a playgroup 3 times a week with her friends, and the rest of the time, she seems to be scheming ways to get Olive off her hands. She has complained to me that Mr. DeGraw will not allow her to hire a full-time nanny because she herself does not work, so she pieces childcare together through a series of babysitters, mostly me. In any case, Olive was in her playpen when I started cleaning, and I stayed in the living room with her until the vacuum lulled her to sleep. Millie, Amber says pointedly. I sigh and put down the sponge I've been holding. It feels like it has been melded to my hand lately. I wash my hands off in the sink, then I wipe them dry on my blue jeans. I'm coming, Olive, I call out. When I get back into the living room, Olive has pulled herself up on the edge of the playpen, and she is crying so desperately that her little round face has turned bright red. Olive is the sort of baby that you might see on the cover of a baby magazine. She's so perfectly cherubic and beautiful, right down to the soft blonde curls that are now smushed against the left side of her head from her nap. At the moment, she's not quite so cherubic, but when she sees me, she instantly lifts her arms and her sobs subside. I reach into the playpen and heft her into my arms. She buries her little wet face in my shoulder, and I don't feel quite so bad about missing class if I have to. I don't know what it is, but the second I turned 30, it was like some switch flipped on inside me that made me think babies are the most adorable thing in the entire universe. I love spending time with Olive, even though she's not my baby. I appreciate this, Millie. Amber is already tugging on her coat and grabbing her Gucci purse from the coat rack beside the door. And believe me, my toes will thank you. Yeah. When will you be back? I won't be gone too long, she assures me, which we both know is a bald-faced lie. After all, I know my little princess will miss me. Of course, I murmur. As Amber digs around in her purse for her keys or her phone or her compact, Olive nuzzles closer to me. She lifts her little round face and smiles up at me with 4 tiny white teeth. Mama, she declares. Amber freezes, her hand still inside her purse. All time seems to stand still. What did she say? Oh no. She said, Millie? Olive, oblivious to the trouble she is causing, grins up at me again and babbles louder this time. Mama! Amber's face turns pink under her foundation. Did she just call you Mama? No. Mama! Olive cries gleefully. Oh my God, will you stop it, kid? Amber throws her purse onto the coffee table, her face twisted in a mask of anger that will almost certainly cause wrinkles. Are you telling Olive that you're her mother? No, I cry. I tell her I'm Millie. Millie! I'm sure she just gets confused, especially because I'm the one who... Her eyes widen. Because you're around her more than I am? Is that what you were going to say? No, of course not. Are you saying that I'm a bad mother? Amber takes a step towards me, and Olive looks alarmed. You think you're more of a mother to my little girl than I am? No, never. Then why are you telling her that you are her mother? I'm not. My exorbitant babysitter pay is circling the drain. I swear, Millie. That's all I'm saying. It sounds like Mama, that's all. Same first letter. Amber takes a deep, calming breath, then she takes another step towards me. Give me my baby. Of course. But Olive isn't making it easy. When she sees her mother coming toward her with outstretched arms, she clings to my neck tighter. Mama, she sobs into my neck. Olive, I mumble, I'm not your mama. That's your mama, who is about to fire me if you don't let go of me. This is so unfair, Amber cries. I breastfed her for over a week. Isn't that worth anything? I'm so sorry. Amber finally wrenches Olive out of my arms, while Olive balls her little head off. Mama, she screams as she reaches for me with her chubby arms. She is not your mama, Amber scolds the baby. I am. Do you want to see the stretch marks? That woman is not your mother. Mama, she wails. Millie, I correct her. Millie. But what's the difference? She doesn't need to know my name, because after today, I'll never be allowed in this house again. I am so fired. Chapter 2. During my walk from the train station to my one-bedroom apartment in the South Bronx, I keep one arm firmly clutched around my purse, and the other holding the can of mace stuffed into my pocket, even when it's broad daylight. You can never be too careful in this neighborhood. Today, I feel lucky to even have my little apartment in the middle of one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York. If I don't find another job soon to replace the income I just lost after Amber DeGraw let me go, with no offer of a reference, the best I could hope for is a cardboard box on the street outside the decrepit brick building where I currently live. If I hadn't decided to go to college, I might have saved myself some money by now, but stupid me, I chose to better myself. As I walk the final block to my building, my sneakers squishing against some slush on the pavement, I get the sensation that there's somebody behind me, following me. Of course, I'm always on high alert around here, but there are times when I strongly feel like I have attracted the wrong sort of attention. For example, right now, in addition to a prickly feeling in the back of my neck, there are footsteps behind me. Footsteps that seem to be getting louder as I walk. Whoever is behind me is getting closer, but I don't turn around. I just hug my sensible black coat tighter around my body, and I walk faster, past a black Mazda with a cracked right headlight, past a red fire hydrant leaking water all over the street, and up the 5 uneven concrete steps to the door of my building. I have my keys ready. Unlike in the DeGraw's swanky Upper West Side apartment building, there is no doorman here. There is an intercom, and there is a key to open the door. When the landlady, Mrs. Randall, rented me the apartment, she gave me a stern lecture about not letting anyone in behind me. It's a good way to get robbed or raped. As I fit the key into the lock that always seems to stick, the footsteps grow louder again. A second later, there's a shadow looming over me that I can't ignore. I lift my eyes and identify a man in his mid-20s, wearing a black trench coat, his dark hair mildly damp. He looks vaguely familiar, especially the scar over his left eyebrow. I live on the second floor, he reminds me when he sees the hesitation on my face. 2C. Oh, I say, although I'm still not thrilled about allowing him inside. The man pulls a set of keys out of his pocket and jiggles them in my face. One of them has the same etchings as my own. 2C, he repeats, right below you. I finally give in and step inside to allow the man with the scar over his left eyebrow to enter my building, considering he could easily push his way in if he wanted. I lead the way, trudging up the stairs one by one, as I wonder to myself, how the hell am I going to pay rent next month? I need a new job, now. I had a part-time gig bartending for a little while, and I stupidly gave it up because babysitting for Olive paid so much better, and the last-minute scheduling made juggling the second job difficult. And it's not like it's easy for somebody like me to find another job. Not with my history. Nice weather we're having, the man with the scar above his left eyebrow comments, following a step behind me on the stairs. Uh-huh, I say. The last thing I want is to talk about the weather right now. I heard it's gonna snow again next week, he adds. Oh? Yes, 8 inches are forecasted. One last hurrah before the spring. I can't even attempt to feign interest anymore. When we get to the second floor, the man smiles at me. Have a good day then, he says. You too, I mumble. As he walks down the hall to his own apartment, I can't help but think about what he said to me when I let him in. 2C, right below you. How did he know I live in 3C? I grimace and walk a little faster up the stairs to my own apartment. I've got the keys ready once again, and the second I'm inside, I slam the door shut behind me, turn the lock, and then throw the deadbolt. I'm probably making too much of his comment, but you can never be too careful, especially when you live in the South Bronx. My stomach is growling, but even more than food, I'm craving a hot shower. I make sure the blinds are drawn before I strip down and jump into the shower. I know from experience that there's a tiny range between the water shooting out boiling hot or ice cold. In the time I've lived here, I've become an expert at adjusting the temperature, but it can drop or rise 20 degrees in a split second, so I don't linger too long. I just need to wash some of the grime off my body. After a day of walking around in the city, my body is always covered in a layer of black dust. I hate to think about what my lungs look like. I can't believe I lost that job. Amber relied on me so heavily. I thought I'd be good at least until Olive was in kindergarten, maybe longer. I was almost starting to feel comfortable, like I had a steady job and an income I could rely on. Now I have to search for something else, maybe multiple other jobs to replace that one, and it's not as easy for me as most people. I can't exactly put an ad up on the popular childcare apps because they all require a background check, and as soon as that happens, any job prospects are off the table. Nobody wants somebody like me working in their home. At the moment, I'm a bit short on references, because for a while, the cleaning jobs I took weren't exactly cleaning only. I used to do another service for several of the families I cleaned for, but I don't do that anymore. I haven't in years. Well, no point in dwelling on the past, not when the future looks so bleak. Stop feeling sorry for yourself, Millie. You've been in worse situations than this and come out of it. The temperature in the shower abruptly plummets, and I let out an involuntary shriek. I reach for the faucet and shut the water off. I got in a good 10 minutes. Better than I even expected. I wrap my terry cloth bathrobe around me, not bothering with a pair of slippers. I track little wet footprints into the kitchen, which is just an offshoot of the living room. In the DeGraw's Uber apartment, their kitchen and living room and dining room were all separate spaces. But in this apartment, they have all merged into one single multi-purpose room, which is ironically much smaller than any of the rooms at the DeGraw's. Even the bathroom there is bigger than my entire living space. I put out a pot of water on the stove to boil. I don't know what I'm going to make for dinner, but it's probably going to involve some sort of noodle being boiled in water, be it of the ramen or spaghetti or spiral noodle variety. I am examining my options when I hear pounding at the door. I hesitate, tightening the belt of my robe around my waist. I pull a box of spaghetti out of the cabinet. Millie! The voice sounds muffled behind the door. Let me in, Millie. I wince. Oh no. Then, I know you're in there. Suspicious. How are we feeling, chat? What are we thinking about the writing style thus far? I feel like I don't read a lot of, like... Well, hold on now. Let me take that back. Mom overreacted. If anything, that should have been a reality check for her. Like, spend more time with your baby, right? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I guess I really haven't read a first-person POV in a minute. I thought that the stationery shop was one, but it wasn't. So yeah, it's been a minute since we've read like an I type of story. I can't even remember the last time I read one like that. So that is the tea. So it does feel like a very personal with this. It keeps a lot of things a mystery. It does. How many people feed other babies? Well, she's not been, you know, she's not been around her baby enough, so. Like, come on, lady. You're always pawning it off. Olive deserves better. But you're right, Bayo. Mama, Papa, Baba are words for parents around the world. It's very easy, yeah. I breastfed for a week. Well, I mean, I wouldn't know, but I imagine that's a lot of work. So, I know people, like, always debate back and forth between the whole, you know, breastfeeding and formula. Also, Vader, welcome in. Thank you for the check-in. That's not good. We know, is she die in the beginning? Right? Like, who's the killer? How does she know she's gonna be murdered? Billy seems nice enough, I guess. I don't know. I wonder what she used to do. I wouldn't blame her if she couldn't make milk and she had to hire somebody. Yeah. It's a lot off week, but it should have also told her that she's not spending enough time with her baby. Oh, it's a lot of work. Yes. She also mentioned another revenue from before. I wonder what her other source of, what other work she was doing before, you know? Like, you want to assume, like, oh, she must have been killing people, right? But, like, that seems a little too obvious, you know? It's like, what were you doing before to where if you had a background check, that'd be too much, right? She's obviously not very old, I don't think, because she's in college, still working on her degree. I think that the upstairs neighbor will be a love interest. I don't think it would be a villain. I felt it was more a lewd kind of job. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking something lewd. I was thinking maybe a legal immigrant. Maybe. Perhaps. You mean like maybe she was like helping people into the country? Because she was saying that her, like, she doesn't do her other source of revenue anymore for the background checks. Yeah. I could see that too. That would make sense. That'd be topical. As soon as they were talking about having like a ritzy apartment, I was like, oh, they must be in New York. It's always New York. She's probably a cruise reviewer. Can't do that and pass a background check. Today I learned. What? Maybe. The other sort of work I was thinking, the more lewd options. I can't imagine she's some certified killer. And so that was 3 months earlier, too. That was the other piece. So 3 months earlier is when she gets fired. Alright, and now we're... Well, it looks like the next chapter doesn't go like 3 months now. It must still be 3 months earlier. You know? So... Okay, it took me 20 minutes to read the prologue plus those 2 chapters. These chapters are feeling kind of hefty, so I guess I probably will stick with 2, and we'll just see how that fits for me. I think I need to get like a humidifier in my room, like a little, just a tiny humidifier when I'm doing this, because it feels like all this extra talking, my throat starts to like, you know. So if you hear me pausing to drink water in between the chapters, I apologize. Should I take notes? Is that something that I could do differently right now? For this next one? Let me take some notes. I'll just take basic notes, right? Like we have Millie, who so far seems to be our main, right? And she's trying to be a social worker. Oopie, Netter, apologize. Are you trying to say, like, I don't need to apologize, Dancing with the Stars notes? Speaking of Dancing with the Stars, 32 days is, I saw a post about it. So 32 days until you guys start hearing all that again and seeing my notes on Discord. If you weren't here last Dancing with the Stars season, you are in for a treat. But anyways, social worker, social worker for college. I'm just gonna write that. Cleans. Suspicious. Prior job. And we'll just write that she's poor. The man from 2C, he commented. Do you guys think it was really weird that he wrote that he was directly below her? Weird. I'm just gonna write sus too. Like, who would say that? Unless he's gone upstairs to see that she lives above. Like, how would he know that, right? And I don't think we need to take notes on Amber. So, maybe, but maybe he just pays attention. I suppose. But how would he know? Like, if he lives on 2C, there's no need for him to go to 3C. Unless he hears her from below, or he asked about his upstairs neighbor. I don't know, it's just kind of a weird comment. I would feel weird if someone said that. Someone who lives underneath you. TC likes to remind me that he lives in my basement all the time, so... Like, if he was above, maybe he would know. Exactly, if he was above, I feel like that would make more sense. But since he's below, like, I don't know. Have I never lived in an apartment before? I have, and I had no idea who lived above or below me. I knew who lived next door, but I did not know who was above or below. Because I had no reason to be up there. I remember when I was living in apartments and this girl went up the stairs before me, and when I went up too, she screamed and I had to explain that I lived right there. That's hilarious. But I totally get the screaming. Just never know. Trust nobody. I always knew who lived around me. I didn't. I don't even know who lives next to me right now, actually. I know that the people next door to me have a dog named Buster. And the people on the other side, I have no idea what they have, so. I mean, when you live in a multi-floor, you know who's in the building, but not which apartment is there. Yes. I knew who looked familiar and who didn't. I don't really like to talk to people, though. Never borrow flour or sugar from your neighbors. No. If I didn't have what I needed, I just simply would not eat it, or I would go out and get it, or that's it. That's it. Even when I lived on base, like when I was in the military, I knew what the people near me looked like, but I didn't know their names. Like, I didn't stop and chat with them, so I know all my neighbors. I'm very social. All right, I swore she saw me before we went up, but apparently not. Well, this has been very insightful. I'm not a neighborly person. I'll like wave to my neighbors, but I don't know their names. Maybe I should, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and continue with the next 2 chapters, y'all. Toasty understands you look like a maniac. Yeah, that's what it is. That's why she screamed. I didn't know the lady across the hall from me till the cops came and kicked in her door. That's horrific. My new neighbor recently introduced themselves to me after I asked if they were my new neighbors. I saw my new neighbors and I waved to them. And they waved, and that was it. That was the end of our interaction. There used to be this guy who lives like, I don't know, a few houses down, and everybody knows his name because he would put on this really great fireworks show, but he moved away. So I knew that guy. Your current neighbor told you that you should be put down like a dog. I remember you telling me that last week, which is crazy. I do have a scar on my face, so I guess if someone doesn't know me, I could look kind of intimidating. People look intimidating to me by default. Actually, women don't look intimidating to me. Men do, because I'm only 4'11". I get a little nervous. She's a little psycho. She's convinced I put cameras in my truck in order to spy on her. That's creepy. Okay. Let's continue with the story, right? She hears banging on her door, so that's where we're at. Or she hears someone yelling at her door. And this was 3 months earlier. Allegedly. They haven't put like a, what do you call it? They haven't jumped back to the future. Okay. Here we go. Chapter 3. I can't ignore the man banging on the door. My feet leave a trail of wet footprints behind me as I cross the few yards to my door. I bring my eye close to the peephole. A man is standing in front of my door, his arms folded across the breast pockets of his Brooks Brothers business suit. Millie? The voice has become a low growl. Let me in. Now. I take a step back from the door. For a moment, I press my fingertip against my temples. But this is inevitable. I have to let him in. So I reach out, open the deadlock, turn the lock, and carefully crack open the door. Millie. He pushes the door the rest of the way open and slides into my home. His fingers encircle my arm. What the hell? My shoulders sag. Sorry, Brock. Brock Cunningham, who I have been dating for the last 6 months, shoots me a look. We had dinner plans tonight. You didn't show up. and you haven't been answering your messages or picking up your phone. He is correct on all counts. I am pretty much the worst girlfriend ever. Brock and I were supposed to meet at a restaurant in Chelsea after I finished my classes for today, but after Amber fired me, I could barely focus on my class, and I definitely didn't feel like having dinner out, so I just went straight home. But I knew if I called Brock and told him I didn't want to go, he would have felt compelled to talk me into it, and as a lawyer, he is super convincing. So I had this plan to send him a text message to cancel, but I kept postponing it, and I was so busy feeling sorry for myself, I then completely forgot. Like I said, worst girlfriend ever. I'm sorry, I say again. I was worried about you, he says. I thought something terrible might have happened to you. Why? A deafening siren goes off right outside the window, and Brock gives me a look like I've asked a very stupid question. I feel a jab of guilt. Brock probably had a ton to do tonight, and not only did I make him wait at the restaurant for me like an idiot, but now he has wasted the rest of his night coming all the way out to the South Bronx to make sure I'm okay. At the very least, I owe him an explanation. Amber DeGraw fired me, I say. So basically, I'm screwed. Really? His eyebrows shoot up. Brock has the most perfect eyebrows I have ever seen on a man, and I'm convinced he must get them professionally shaped, but he won't admit to such a thing. Why did she fire you? I thought you said she couldn't function without you. You said you're basically raising her child. Exactly, I say. Her kid wouldn't quit calling me mama, and Amber freaked out. Brock stares at me for a moment, and then unexpectedly, he bursts out laughing. At first, I'm offended. I just lost my job. Doesn't he get how crappy this is? But then a second later, I find myself joining in. I throw my head back and laugh at how ridiculous the whole thing was. I remember Olive reaching for me and sobbing mama, while Amber got madder and madder. By the end, I seriously thought Amber was going to pop an aneurysm in her brain. After a minute, the two of us are both wiping tears from our eyes. Brock puts his arms around me and pulls me closer to him, no longer angry about me standing him up. Brock doesn't get angry easily. Most people would count that among his good qualities, although there are times where I wish he would show a little more passion. In general, though, we are in a sweet spot for our relationship. 6 months. Is there any better time in a relationship than 6 months? I genuinely don't know, because this is the only second time I have reached that landmark. But it seems like 6 months is that perfect time when you shed the early relationship awkwardness, but you're still showing each other your best side. For example, Brock is a handsome 32-year-old lawyer from a well-to-do family. He seems just about perfect. I'm sure Brock has bad habits, but I don't know what they are. Maybe he cleans the earwax out of his ear canal with his finger and then wipes it onto the kitchen counter or the sofa. Or maybe he eats the earwax. I'm just saying, there are a lot of bad habits he might have that I don't know about, some of them not even involving earwax at all. Well, he does have one imperfection. Despite the fact that he's a strapping young man whose face is flushed with good health, he actually has a heart condition that he developed as a child. But it doesn't seem to affect him at all. He takes a pill every day, and that seems to be the extent of it. But the pill is important enough that he keeps a spare bottle in my medicine cabinet. And his illness and uncertainty about his life expectancy have made him a little more eager to settle down than most guys. Let me take you out to dinner, Brock says. I want to cheer you up. I shake my head. I just want to stay home and feel sorry for myself, and then maybe look online for jobs. Now? You only just lost your job a few hours ago. You can't wait at least until tomorrow? I raise my eyes to glare at him. Some of us need money to pay the rent. He nods slowly. Okay, but what if you didn't need to worry about the rent? I have a bad feeling I know where this is going. Brock, come on. Why don't you want to move in with me, Millie? He frowns. I've got a 2-bedroom apartment overlooking Central Park, in a building where you won't get your throat slit during the night. And you come over all the time anyway. It's not the first time he has suggested moving in with him, and I can't say he doesn't make a persuasive argument. If I moved in with Brock, I would be living in the lap of luxury, and I wouldn't have to pay a dime for it. He wouldn't even let me contribute if I wanted to. I could focus on getting my college degree so I could become a social worker and do some good in the world. It seems like a no-brainer. But every time I consider telling him yes, a voice in the back of my head screams, "Don't do it!" The voice in my head is just as persuasive as Brock's. There are a lot of good reasons to move in with him, but there's one good reason not to. He has no idea who I really am. Even if he really is eating his own earwax, my secrets are much worse. So here I am, in the most normal and healthy relationship of my adult life, and it seems like I'm determined to screw it all up. But I am in a bit of a bind. If I tell him the truth about my past, he might leave me, and I don't want that. But if I don't tell him... One way or another, he's gonna find out everything. I'm just not ready for that. "I'm sorry," I say. "Like I said, I need my own space right now." Brock opens his mouth to protest, but then he thinks better of it. He knows me well enough to know how stubborn I can be. See? He's already learning some of my worst qualities. "At least tell me you'll think about it." "I'll think about it." I lie. Chapter 4. I've got my 10th job interview in the last 3 weeks, and I'm starting to get nervous. I don't even have enough money in the bank account to cover 1 month's rent. I know you're supposed to have a 6-month buffer in the bank, just in case, but that works better in theory than in practice. I'd love to have a 6-month buffer in the bank. Hell, I'd love to have a 2-month buffer. Instead, I've got less than $200. I don't know what I did wrong in the other 9 interviews for cleaning or babysitting positions. One of the women outright assured me that she was planning to hire me, but it's been a week, and I haven't heard a peep from her, or any of the others. I'm assuming she did a background check, and that was the end of it. If I were any other person, I could simply join some sort of cleaning service, and I wouldn't have to go through this process. But none of them will hire me. I've tried. The background checks make it impossible. Nobody wants someone with a criminal record inside their home. That's why I put up ads online and hope for the best. I don't have much hope for today's interview either. I'm meeting a man named Douglas Garrick, who lives in an apartment building on the Upper West Side, just west of Central Park. It's one of those Gothic buildings with many towers rising out of the skyline. It vaguely looks like it should be surrounded by a moat and guarded by a dragon, instead of being a place that you can just walk into right off the street. A doorman with white hair holds the door open for me with the tip of his black cap. As I smile up at him, once again, I get the prickling sensation in the back of my neck, like somebody is watching me. Ever since the night I came home after getting fired, I've gotten that sensation several times. It made sense in my neighborhood in the South Bronx, where there are probably muggers on every corner waiting to jump out if I look like I had any money at all. But not here. Not in one of the swankiest neighborhoods in Manhattan. Before I step into the apartment building, I whirl around to look behind me. There are dozens of people milling about on the street, but none of them are paying attention to me. There are plenty of unique and interesting people walking around the streets of Manhattan, and I'm not one of them. There's no reason for anyone to be staring at me. Then, I see the car. It's a black Mazda sedan. There are probably thousands of cars just like it in the city, but when I look at it, I get this weird sense of deja vu. It takes me a second to realize why. The car has a cracked right headlight. I'm certain that I saw a black Mazda with a right cracked headlight parked near my apartment building in the South Bronx. Didn't I? I peer through the windshield. The car is empty. I lower my gaze to look down at the license plate. It's a New York plate. Nothing exciting there. I take a moment to memorize the number. 58F32I. The plate number means nothing to me, but if I see it again, I'll remember it. "Miss?" Doorman asks me, jerking out of my trance. "Will you be coming inside?" "Oh," I cough into my hand. Yes, sorry about that." I step into the lobby of the building. Instead of overhead lights, the lobby is lit by chandeliers and lamps on the side of the walls that are meant to resemble torches. The low ceiling curves into a dome, which makes me feel slightly like I'm entering a tunnel. Works of art adorn the walls, all of which are likely priceless. "Who are you here to see, miss?" the doorman asks me. "The Garricks, 20A. "Ah," he winks at me. "The penthouse." Oh great, a penthouse family. Why do I even bother? After the doorman calls upstairs to confirm my appointment, he has to go into the elevator and insert a special key so that I can get up to the penthouse. After the elevator doors swing shut, I do a quick inventory of my appearance. I smooth out my blonde hair that I have pulled back into a simple bun. I'm wearing my nicest pair of black slacks and a sweater vest. I start to adjust my boobs, but then I notice that there's a camera in the elevator, and I'd rather not give the doorman a show. The doors to the elevator open directly into the foyer of the Garrick's penthouse apartment. As I step out of the elevator, I take a deep breath, and I can almost smell the wealth in the air. It's some combination of expensive cologne and crisp $100 bills. I stand in the foyer for a moment, not sure if I should venture out without being welcomed formally, so instead, I focus my attention on a white podium displaying a gray statue that is essentially just a large, smooth, vertical stone, one that you could find in any park in the city. Despite that, it's probably worth more than everything I've ever owned in my entire life. Millie? I hear the voice seconds before a man materializes in the foyer. Millie Calloway? It was Mr. Garrick who invited me to the interview today. It's unusual to be called by the man of the house. Almost 100% of my primary employers in the cleaning business have been female, but Mr. Garrick seems eager to meet me. He rushes into the foyer, a smile on his lips, his hand already extended. Mr. Garrick? I say. Please, he says as his strong hand slides into mine. Call me Douglas. Douglas Garrick looks exactly like the sort of man who would be living in a penthouse on the Upper West Side. He's in his early 40s and handsome in that classic, chiseled sort of way. He's wearing a suit that looks extremely expensive, and his dark brown hair is glossy and expertly cut and styled. His deep-set brown eyes are shrewd and make just the right amount of eye contact with mine. Nice to meet you, Douglas, I say. Thank you so much for coming today. Douglas Garrick flashes me a grateful smile as he leads me into the expansive living room. My wife, Wendy, usually does the housework. She takes pride in trying to do it all herself. But she hasn't been feeling well, so I insisted on getting some help. His last statement strikes me as strange. Women who live in a huge penthouse apartments like this generally don't try to do it all themselves. Usually, women like this have maids for their maids. Of course, I say. You mentioned you're looking for cooking and cleaning? He nods. General housekeeping stuff, like dusting, tidying, and laundry, of course, and meal preparation for a few nights a week. Do you think that would be a problem? Not at all. I'm willing to agree to just about anything. I've been cleaning apartments and houses for many years. I can bring my own cleaning supplies and... No, that won't be necessary, Douglas interrupts me. My wife, Wendy, is very particular about cleaning supplies. She's sensitive to smells, you see. It triggers her symptoms. You need to use our special cleaning products, or else... Absolutely, I say. Whatever you'd like. Wonderful, his shoulders relax. And we would need you to start right away. That's not a problem. Good. Good, Douglas smiles apologetically, because as you can see, this place is a bit of a mess. As I step into the living room, I take in my surroundings. Much like the rest of the building, this penthouse makes me feel like I've been transported into the past. Aside from the gorgeous leather sofa, most of the furniture looks like it was constructed hundreds of years ago, and then frozen in time to be specially transported to this living room. If I knew more about home decor, I might be able to pinpoint that the coffee table was hand-carved in the early 20th century, or that the bookcase with the glass doors came from, I don't know, the French neoclassical revival period or something like that. All I can say for sure is that every item cost a small fortune. And another thing I know is that this apartment is not a mess. It's the opposite of a mess. If I were to start cleaning, I'm not even sure what I would do. I would need a microscope to find a speck of dust. I'm happy to start whenever you want, I say carefully. Fantastic, Douglas nods in approval. I'm so pleased to hear that. Why don't you have a seat so we can chat further? I sit down beside Douglas on the sectional, sinking deep into the soft leather. Oh my god, this is the nicest thing I've ever felt against my skin. I could leave Brock and just marry this sofa instead, and all my needs would be met. Douglas stares at me intently, with his deep-set eyes beneath a pair of thick, dark brown eyebrows. So tell me about yourself, Millie. I appreciate from the start that there's no hint of flirtation in his voice. His eyes stay respectfully pinned on mine and don't drift down to my boobs or my legs. I've gotten involved with my employer only one time before, and I will never, ever go down that road again. I'd rather yank my own tooth out with a pair of pliers. Well, I clear my throat. I'm currently a student at the community college. I'm planning to become a social worker, but in the meantime, I'm paying my way through school. That's admirable, he smiles, showing off a row of straight white teeth. And you have any experience with cooking? I nod. I've cooked for a lot of the families I work for. I'm not a professional, but I've taken a couple of classes. I glance around, unable to see any toys or signs of a child living here. I babysit. Douglas flinches. No need for that. I wince, cursing my big mouth. He never mentioned babysitting. I probably reminded him of some horrible infertility problems. Sorry, I say. He shrugs. No worries. How about a tour? The Garrick's penthouse puts Amber's Uber apartment to shame. This penthouse is an entirely different species of apartment. The living room is at least the size of an Olympic swimming pool. The corner contains a bar with half a dozen vintage bar stools set up around it. Despite the antiquated theme of the living room, the kitchen has all of the latest appliances, including, I'm sure, the best dehydrator on the market. This should have everything you need, Douglas tells me as he sweeps a hand across the vast expanse of the kitchen. Looks perfect, I say, crossing my fingers that the oven comes with some sort of manual to explain what each of the 24 buttons on the display is supposed to do. Excellent, he says. Now let me show you the second floor. Second floor? Apartments in Manhattan do not have 2 floors, but apparently this one does. Douglas takes me on a tour of the upstairs, leading me to at least half a dozen bedrooms. The master bedroom is so large that I need a pair of binoculars to see the king-size bed at the other end of the room. There's one room that is entirely books, and I am vaguely reminded of that scene in Beauty and the Beast when Belle is taken into the book room. Another room seems to include a wall full of pillows. I guess that's the pillow room. And then, after, he takes me into a room that contains what must be an artificial fireplace, and one entire wall is a huge window with a breathtaking view of the New York City skyline. We come to one final door. He hesitates, his fist poised to knock. This is our guest bedroom, he tells me. Wendy has been in here recovering. I probably should let her rest. I'm sorry to hear your wife is ill, I say. She's been sick for most of our marriage, he explains. She suffers from a chronic illness. She has good days and bad days. Sometimes she's her usual self. And then other days, she can barely get out of bed. And other days... What? Nothing. He offers a weak smile. Anyway, if the door is closed, just leave her alone. She needs a rest. I completely understand. Douglas stares at the door for a moment, a troubled expression on his face. He touches the door with his fingertips, and he shakes his head. So Millie, he says, when can you start? New characters. New characters. Hi Tofiko, thank you so much for the check-in. Thank you for the lurk. Enjoy your time in the honeypot. Not that anyone asked, but I thought I was going deaf, but it turned out my ear had so much wax I couldn't hear. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we met Brock, right? Her boyfriend. Man, isn't that messed up that she, like, you know, that she didn't let her boyfriend know? Let's go. Brock, Millie, BF, Rich, Lawyer. And then Douglas. Also rich. Weird wife. Weird wife. Seems nice. Yeah, that didn't sound like a healthy relationship if she can't be honest with her past, right? But also, like... Do you guys think she should have moved in with him? Like, she doesn't have money for her life, and he's like, hey, I'll come take care of you. I get why she doesn't want to move in with him, right? Because when you start relying on someone, especially like financially, it's like, ugh, God, I hope they're good. Because if they're not, now I have to stay, or, you know, I can't leave. But at the same time, dang, girl, you could have been focusing on your college. I would have, but I don't know her full story yet. Fair. Probably. Enough to make a candle that's funny. Weird. Seems like a stupid choice. I don't know. She's kind of living in a place where they, you know, like, if I had to be worried that every time I stepped outside I was gonna get my throat slit, I probably would be like, maybe I should move. Like, Central Park, that's pretty ritzy. And there's also Wendy, Douglas's wife. Chronic illness, allegedly. Don't open the door if it's closed. See, I wonder if she's what the cover is about, right? Because Central Park East versus West are very different. Oh, I wouldn't really know. It seems like a stupid choice to not move in. I think in her case it kind of is. Brock should have dumped her. Brock should have been like, look, girl, that was really messed up that you didn't even bother to let me know. Like, if you're gonna bail, but at least be honest. Be outright with it, right? Don't make the man just wait. I wonder how old she is. If he's 32, like, how old is she? Right? Ugh, I have so many questions. What do we think is wrong with Wendy? Maybe she's a zombie. No, I'm just kidding. But he's like, if the door is shut, don't even bother going in there. Super messed up, like, especially when you live in a sketchy neighborhood, right? And who the heck is the owner of the black Mazda with the cracked headlight? Questions. They keep leaving us breadcrumbs. I know they can't lay it out all at once, but I don't want to be titillated. I want to know now. No, I'm just kidding. But it seems interesting enough so far. I don't hate it. I actually kind of like the what do you call it? The writing style. I have like no problem with it. No qualms. And I think the chapter length is nice. I think any longer I might be like, ugh. But these feel like good chapters. It feels like it's flowing well so far. I like how they put in little extra detail. Like, she didn't have to mention that the leather was really, really soft, but I really liked that. Freida McFadden, you're doing good. I see a lot of people like reading her books on my, like, in my friends list and stuff. But like I said, I don't really read these spooky books, so yeah. I kind of stay away from stuff like this. I don't want to read the back though. I want to read the back, but I also don't want to know about the description. I want to come in with completely fresh eyes. So I have no idea what it's about. I've only read the front. Also, if you have money like that, then you would definitely do background checks. So why didn't he? Or did he, and he knows who she is? See, also a good question, Billy. Like, if you have that kind of money, you have penthouse money, you have a 2-story penthouse money, and you didn't want to look up who you're letting into your home, that is true, Billy. So he has to know. Like, there's no way he doesn't, right? But before I get into, maybe the wife is a ghost. Perhaps, but I don't want to know. And don't spoil it for me. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break just to rest the old vocal cords before we get into the last 2 chapters. So stand up. Hold on, let me switch over here. Stand up. Stand up. Get water and do what you have to do during this break. When we come back, we are going to do 2 more chapters, and then we'll wrap this stream up. So I will see you guys very soon. Be right back, y'all. All right, y'all. We are back. What did you do during the break? Did you stand up? Did you get water? Did you stare off into the void? I want to know. And if you don't want to tell me, totally fine. Keep your secrets. What'd you say? What are we saying? And who is texting me? It was a notification to buy things. Ugh. Let's see. Maybe the wife is a ghost, or maybe it's like a Get Out kind of thing where they're gonna use Millie to be a stand-in for their dead daughter. That's horrific, yerp. So back, I'm getting ready for work tomorrow. Very cool. Very, very cool. I hope you have a great work week. Writing an informal discovery request. I'm treating this like a murder case. Is this for your arraignment tomorrow? I'm sending good vibes your way, Bayo. What happens what happens in an arraignment? Like, do they like, what is the outcome of it? You're doing a Lego right now? Ooh, very cool. I have Legos I need to finish. I need to finish the frame on my Great Wave that I started a while ago. And then I have a Milky Way Galaxy Lego that my brother got me for Christmas that I've not opened at all. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow when I get home from work before my eye exam, or even after. That would be nice, and before poll. You're taking Friday off because your birthday is next week? Ooh, do you want to pick what I play on Wednesday, Billy? Do you want to pick what I play on Wednesday, Billy? Since your birth is on Friday? Well, your birthday is next week. Is it like on the weekend or what? You don't have to tell me, but you can choose what I play if you'd like to. One of the joys of having a small community is I can do that. So, your birthday Sunday? Oh, cool. Well, if you would like, Sunday is my reading day, so I don't want to change that. But if you want to choose what I play this Wednesday or next Wednesday, you absolutely could. Also, this upcoming weekend, I get to go to the beach. Anyways, it's where you declare yourself guilty or not guilty, or demur. Demur is saying there's something wrong with the paperwork. Okay. Well, I'm excited for you, Bayo. I'm sending good vibes. Just a happy birthday and a good reading session is more than enough. Okay. Well, I suppose that we'll have to do then, Bayo. Or Billy. Billy, not Bayo. I feel like if he told you next week, he may as well just tell you which day at that point. Maybe he wants to keep a little bit of mystery. Lisa. Okay, let me go ahead and switch back to the virtual cottage. Switch the music back. Oh, Lordy. Okay, so before the break, we read 4 chapters, and now after the break, we are going to finish up these last 2 chapters. They're just laying the groundwork, a little slow build, if you will, and I'm not mad at it, honestly. I'm enjoying the story thus far, and I'm looking forward to hearing what comes next. The main characters that I feel like will be reoccurring are Millie, obviously, our main, Douglas, aka Mr. Garrick, who is a rich dude, his wife, Wendy, something's wrong with her, we don't know what. Brock is Millie's boyfriend, and I don't think we really need to worry about the previous employers. I feel like we're not going to hear from them again. And then this mysterious black Mazda owner, but we don't know anything about them. But it's laying the groundwork, right? We're finding out something is weird about Wendy, Douglas's wife. And you know, the front of the thing says this perfect home has one rule: don't look behind closed doors. So clearly it's something with Wendy or Douglas, or maybe neither, who knows, but that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into these last 2 chapters. Let's turn the rain off and do the fireplace now. Here we go. Chapter 5. In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was murdered. Kitty was a 28-year-old bartender. She was raped and stabbed at approximately 3 in the morning, about 100 feet from her Queens apartment. She screamed for help, but while several neighbors heard her cry, nobody came to her aid. Her attacker, Winston Mosley, left her briefly and returned 10 minutes later, at which point he stabbed her several more times and stole $50 from her. She died from her knife wounds. Kitty Genovese was attacked, raped, and murdered in front of 38 witnesses, Professor Kindred announces to the lecture hall. 38 people saw her attack, and not one person came to her aid or called the police. Our professor, a man in his 60s with hair that always seems to be sticking up, looks at each and every one of us, accusation in his eyes, like we were the 38 people who left that woman to die. This, he says, is the bystander effect. It's a social psychology phenomenon in which individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when there are other people present. The students in the room are scribbling in their notes or typing on their laptops. I just stare at the professor. Think about it. Professor Kindred says, over 36 people allowed a woman to be raped and murdered, and they just watched and did nothing. This perfectly demonstrates diffusion of responsibility in a group. I squirm in my seat, imagining what I would do in that situation if I looked out my window and saw a man attacking a woman. I wouldn't sit back and do nothing, that's for damn sure. I would jump right out the window if I had to. No, I wouldn't do that. I have learned to control myself better than that, but I would call 911. I would go outside and bring a knife with me. I wouldn't do anything with it, but it might be enough to scare off an attacker. I still feel shaken thinking about that poor girl who was killed over half a century ago when I emerged from the lecture hall. When I get out onto the street, I almost walk right past Brock. He has to chase after me and grab my arm. Of course, we made dinner plans. Hey, he grins at me with the whitest teeth I have ever seen. I've never asked him if he gets them professionally whitened, but he must. Teeth can't naturally be that white. It's inhuman. We're celebrating tonight, right? Your new job? Right, I manage a smile. Sorry. Are you okay? I'm shaken from the lecture I just had. We were learning about this woman in the 60s who was raped in front of 38 bystanders who did nothing. How could something like that happen? Kitty Genovese, right? Brock snaps his fingers. I remember it from my own college psychology class. Right, and it's awful. It's bullshit, though. He slides his hand into mine. His palm feels warm. The story was sensationalized by the New York Times. There were way fewer witnesses than the Times reported, and based on where the apartments were, most of them couldn't see what was really happening and thought it was just a lover's quarrel. And a bunch of them did call the police. I think she was being cradled by one of her neighbors when the ambulance came. Oh. I feel slightly inadequate, the way I often do when Brock knows more about something than I do. Which happens a lot, actually. As far as I can tell, the guy knows just about everything. It's one of the many things that makes him so perfect. It's not as sensational a story, though, is it? Brock lets go of my hand and throws an arm around my shoulders. I catch a glimpse of our reflection in a store window, and I can't help but think we look good together as a couple. We look like the kind of couple that would invite 500 guests to our wedding, and then get a house with a white picket fence out in the suburbs, and then proceed to fill it with children. Either way, you shouldn't feel bad about something that happened decades ago. You're just a little too nice, you know? I've always had this itch to help people who are in trouble. Unfortunately, it gets me into trouble sometimes. If only I were as nice as Brock thinks I am. He has no idea. Sorry, I can't help it. I guess that's why you want to become a social worker, he winks at me. Unless I can talk you into a more lucrative career. My last boyfriend was the one who convinced me to follow the career path to social work, so I could help people in need while staying within the confines of the law. You need to help everyone, Millie. That is what I love about you. He really understood me. Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. Anyway, Brock squeezes my shoulders. Let's not think about women who were murdered in the 60s. Tell me about your new job. I fill him in on the details of the impressive Garrick penthouse. When I tell him about the view, the location, the second floor, he lets out a low whistle. That apartment must have cost a fortune, he says as we step into the street, narrowly avoiding being sideswiped by a bike. As far as I can tell, bikers in the city have absolutely no regard for traffic lights or pedestrians. I bet they paid like $20 million, at least. Wow, you think? Definitely. They better be paying you well. They are. When Douglas discussed the hourly rate, I almost felt dollar signs popping up in my eyeballs. What did you say the guy who hired you was called? Douglas Garrick? Hey, he's the CEO of Coinstock. Brock snaps his fingers. I met him once when he hired my firm to help with the patent. Genuinely nice guy. Yeah, he seemed nice. He did seem nice. But I can't stop thinking about that closed door on the second floor. The wife who couldn't even come out to meet me. As excited as I am about this job, something about that makes me uneasy. And you know what else? Brock pulls me into a crosswalk. The light is flashing, about to turn red, and we make it across just in time. The building is only like 5 blocks away from where I live. Hint, hint. I knew about the proximity of the penthouse to Brock's apartment, of course. I squirm, feeling just as uncomfortable as I did in the classroom. Brock has become a dog with a bone. He wants me to move in with him, and he won't seem to let it go. I just can't seem to shake the feeling that if he really knew me, he wouldn't want that. I love being with Brock, and I don't want to ruin it. Brock, I say. Okay, he rolls his eyes. Look, I don't mean to pressure you. If you're not ready to move in, that's fine, but for the record, I think we make a good team, and you spend half your nights at my place anyway, right? Uh-huh, I say in the most non-committal way possible. Also, he flashes those pearly whites at me. My parents would like to meet you. Okay, now I'm gonna throw up. Even though he's been bugging me to move in with him, it still didn't occur to me that he would have told his parents about me, but of course he did. He probably calls them once a week, on Sundays, at 8 p.m., and fills them in on all the pertinent details of his perfect life. Oh, I say weakly. And I'd like to meet your parents as well, he adds. This might be a great time to tell him I'm estranged from my parents, but the words don't come. This is so hard. The last guy I dated knew everything about me from the start, so I never had to reveal my complicated past. There was never a terrifying moment where I laid everything out on the table. And like I said, Brock is so perfect. The only things about him that aren't perfect are little insignificant details. Like once, he left the toilet seat up at my apartment, and even that is something he's only done once. The problem with Brock is that he's ready to settle down, and even though I'm the same age, I'm not there yet. He doesn't want to wait either. He's got a great job at the top law firm, and he makes more than enough to support a family. Even though his last cardiology visit gave him a clean bill of health, he worries that he's not going to live out the expected lifespan for a Caucasian man in this country. He wants to get married and have kids while he can still enjoy it. Meanwhile, I feel like I'm still in the process of growing up. I'm still in school after all. I'm not ready to get married. I can't. It's okay. He stops waiting for a moment to look at me. A man walking behind us almost collides with us, and he curses as he goes on his way. I don't want to rush you, but you need to know. I'm crazy about you, Millie. I'm crazy about you too, I say. He takes both my hands in his as he stares into my eyes. Actually, I kind of love you. My heart speeds up a bit. He's told me before that he's crazy about me, but he's never told me he loved me before, even with a kind of modifier. I open my mouth, not entirely sure what I'm gonna say, but before any words can come out, I get that prickling sensation in the back of my neck. Why do I feel like somebody's watching me? Am I losing my mind? Well, I finally say, that's kind of sweet. I'm not ready to say it back. I can't take that next step in our relationship when there's so much about me that Brock still doesn't know. Thankfully, he doesn't push the issue. Come on, he says. Let's go get some sushi. At some point, I probably also need to tell him that I don't like sushi. Chapter 6. It's my first day working for the Garricks. Douglas has already told the doorman to let me in, and left me a copy of the key so I'm able to insert it into the slot in the elevator. The elevator creaks and groans as it makes its way up 20 stories. Well, 19 stories. Even though the apartment is 20A, the building is missing the 13th floor. No bad luck here. The gears in the elevator grind to a screeching halt as I reach my destination. Once again, the doors swing open to the Garrick's impressive apartment. Despite the fact that Douglas says they'll require my services several times a week, The apartment hardly seems to need it. It's dusty, like every apartment in the city gets, but other than that, it's relatively tidy. Hello? I call out. Douglas? No answer. I try again. Mrs. Garrick? I venture into the living room, which once again makes me feel like I've wandered into a home from a century or two ago. I would never be able to afford even one piece of this antique furniture, even if I spent my life savings. Most of my own furniture came from the curb outside my apartment building. I walk to the mantel that is positioned over what must be a faux fireplace. There are about half a dozen photographs lined up. Each one of them features Douglas Garrick and a stick-thin woman with long auburn hair. There is one of them on a ski slope, another posed in formal clothing, and another in front of what looks like a cave. I study the woman, presumably Wendy Garrick. I wonder if I'll meet her anytime soon, or if she'll stay locked up in that room every time I come over. I have no problem with that, though. I have had plenty of clients that I never laid eyes on the entire time I was cleaning for them. A loud thump echoes from upstairs, and I jump away from the mantel. I don't want anyone to think I've been snooping. That would definitely not be a good introduction to Wendy Garrick. I back away from the mantel, looking over the foot of the stairs. Nobody's on the stairwell, and I don't hear any footsteps. It doesn't look like anyone is coming. I decide to get started on the laundry. Douglas pointed out the wicker basket where they keep their dirty laundry in the master bedroom. Once the washer is going, I can start tackling some of the other chores. I head up the polished wooden stairs to the massive master bedroom. In the walk-in closet, I locate the large wicker basket Douglas showed me the other day. But when I open up the laundry hamper, I am stunned. In my time doing other people's laundry, I've seen a lot of crazy things. I've seen laundry that didn't quite make it into the hamper and instead was scattered in a circle surrounding the hamper. I've seen every kind of stain, from chocolate to oil to a few stains I'm pretty sure were blood. But I've never seen this before. All the dirty laundry is folded. I stare at it for a moment, trying to figure out if I got it wrong. Maybe this is laundry that has already been done and needs to be put away? Because why would dirty laundry be folded? But this is the laundry hamper Douglas showed me, so I have to assume it must be the dirty laundry. I grab the hamper and haul it out of the master bedroom. Just as I'm heading down the hallway to the washer and dryer units, I notice that the guest bedroom is cracked open. Mrs. Garrick? I call out. I squint at the crack in the door. I could just barely make out a green eye, staring at me. I'm Millie. I start to raise my hand and then realize it's not going to be possible while holding the laundry hamper, so I put it down. I'm your new cleaner. I start to walk toward the door, my hand outstretched, but before I can even get halfway there, the open crack vanishes. The door has snapped shut. Okay. I understand some people aren't terribly social, and especially don't like to be social with the cleaning staff. Couldn't she have at least said hi? Just so I'm not standing here in the middle of the hallway awkwardly? Then again, it's her house, and Douglas told me she has an illness, so I'm not going to bully her into meeting me. Although, would it really be terrible if I knocked on the door and just told her my name? But no. Douglas told me not to bother her, so I won't. I'll finish up the laundry, make them dinner, and then I'll be on my way. The end. Okay, so Millie kind of sucks. That answer that she gave Brock was kind of crappy. And her not telling him, like, even I think it's even whack that she doesn't tell him that she doesn't like sushi, you know? You've been with this person for 6 months, like, why wouldn't you have said that the first time? I get wanting to put your best face forward, but, like, you're, like, straight up not letting this person know you. I don't know. Millie is kind of awful. Boo. Boo, tomatoes, tomatoes. I'm not impressed with her. She's kind of terrible, right? Like, am I tripping, guys? Millie's the worst? Yeah. And then he says, like, I want you to meet my parents. 6 months. 6 months. And they're 32. I think that's a good time to meet the parents. You know? Like, I don't know. That doesn't seem whack. I happen to like meeting my what do you call it? Like when I'm dating somebody, I kind of like meeting the parents. Parents usually like me, so I don't know, it doesn't bother me none. And if you don't tell them you don't like sushi and he keeps taking you and then you get resentful that you keep going for sushi, yeah, and then when you finally do say, hey, just so you know, I don't like sushi, that person's gonna be like, why did you keep that from me? And what else are you keeping from me? You know, like why not just say, why wouldn't you say that up front? Or at least like even if they really, really like sushi, why wouldn't you have brought that up in the 6 months you've been together? Also, she keeps playing the comparison game with her last boyfriend. Red flag. Is this a fantasy book? Like maybe she's a vampire? I don't know. Well, that is because you come off as such a gem. Aw, thanks, Bayo. Maybe it's nonfiction and she's a vampire. It wasn't in the fantasy section. It was in the murder, mystery, drama, thriller area. So there's been a murder. No, but I do think it's weird, like the sushi thing that she keeps bringing up her ex-boyfriend. And then like, I don't think it's whack that after 6 months he says I kind of love you. That's not whack. That seems appropriate. And then she's just like, you're cool too, tee. Like, I don't know. Brock sounds like a really nice guy. At 32, you're meeting my parents at 3 months because I ain't got time to waste. I introduced a girl to my parents at like 9 months before and she did not get along with my family, which is like an immediate deal breaker. I think it's always easy when the family likes you. Do I not compare internally? I really try my hardest not to, Bayo. Like, and I think I'm pretty good at not doing that. But I mean, I'm human, you know? I can't help it. But I really try not to. I feel like I'm very good at not playing the comparison game because I try to treat it with a slate. And obviously, if I left that last relationship or that last relationship didn't work out, it was for good reason. So, comparison is the thief of joy, I always say. It's her first official day working there and like nobody came to greet her. That is kind of weird though. And then like the door just shutting. I wonder what color is the eye on the front page. The color of the eye on the front page is blue, not green like Wendy's. So maybe, did Millie say she has blue eyes? I know she's got blonde hair, but I can't remember if she mentioned her eyes. Yeah, she met brother once and then some really nasty ish about him like right off the bat and that ain't gonna fly. That's horrible. Good riddance. But that concludes the first 6 chapters of the Housemaid's Secret, and I'm liking it so far. I'm enjoying this book. That is a new philosophy for me. May I request an essay on your theory? What theory? About the comparison is a thief of joy? That's like a really common phrase, you know? Like, let me think. We might be able to do 3s. Yes. You've never heard of it? Oh. Well, it's kind of like, okay, so let's say there's like a family next door, right? And you're like, man, they look like they're so happy, right? And you're like, man, I really wish I had that, you know? Or you're like, man, their house is so much nicer than mine. Their car's so much nicer than mine. But like maybe they have like a really crappy relationship, you know? You know? Like it could be that. Perhaps they have a crappy relationship behind closed doors. Like instead of just being like, "Oh, I'm happy where I'm at," you know, you're like looking at somebody else's stuff and you're like, "Man, it'd be kind of cool if I had that. Like look at how cool their life is." But you don't really know what they're going through. Like you're supposed to like look at where you're at. Grass is always greener. Yeah, the whole like grass is greener on the other side. But it's also green by the septic tank, you know. Comparison is the thief of joy, but inspiration is the wind that fills our sails. I have never heard that. Is that the full phrase, Rusty? That is just the grass is green on the other side and the dangers of jumping to the other field, or you overlook the good things in your relationships. Or like, I don't know. I don't know. Like if you're with somebody and things are going well, but then you start thinking about something else, like somebody that you used to be with, but you forget like things are good here And that last relationship must not have worked out for a reason, so you really shouldn't be looking back. Should be focusing on where you're at. No need to compare. Like, one person may hold the door for their partner, which you're jealous of, but your partner does something just as kind or even better for you. Yeah, that too. Comparison is the thief of joy. Grass is greener on the other side. I guess those can kind of be same, right? In the same realm. Do I look for other fields while you are testing this current field? No. I stay. If I'm in a field, I'm in that field. Stay in that field. I'm hyper-focused on this field. I hyper-fixate on the field until I eventually hate it. No, I'm just kidding. But that is what happens to me with snacks. Do you guys remember me telling you about the hot and spicy Cheez-Its that I wouldn't shut up about? Yeah, I'm sick of them now. I hyper-fixated on those Cheez-Its, and then I was like, oh, let me just keep eating these, right? Now I hate them. I tried to have a bowl of them not too long ago, and I was like, this is disgusting. Oh, get these away from me. So I'm officially off the Cheez-Its thing. Enjoy what you got, then you jump the fence. See, that's a good idea. No, I'm just kidding. That's a plan. Yo, you got a nice field. I'm in this field. I'm in this field. I'm watering these crops. I'm cultivating the land. I don't need to go to any other fields. I have this field, right? And then I start looking at the field too long, and I'm like, man, the field's a little uneven. Have these blades of grass always been this uncomfortable? Ugh. The dirt's looking kind of whack. What's that smell? And then I start to hate my field. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Cultivating the land. Anyways, she's collecting the golden poot. That is true. And I revive those people. Anyways, okay, so we read 6 chapters of the Housemaid's Secret, and then she looks over at the neighbor's fence. No, I'm not looking at the neighbor's fence. I'm not looking at other people's field. I'm looking at my field so long that I start to notice all the things that I don't like about the field, and then little by little, I don't like my field anymore. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. For realsies. That's not me. I look at my field, and then I'm like, wow, I love this field so much. I can't possibly imagine a day without this field. What would I do if this field wasn't around? I think I would cry. I'm so grateful I get to stand in this field every day. I love this field. That's more of my speed. Anyways, y'all. Let's get this stream wrapped up. I wish it was lusher, greener, not dry and dead. No. I'm like a... Oh my gosh. My field, the wind is blowing. It's a little warm here in this field, but I kind of like this heat. This field, the temperature of this field is comforting. That's me. All good things must come to an end, and unfortunately this stream is not immune to it. And if you're sad about this stream ending, don't be, because I'm coming back, guys. I'll be here on Wednesday. What are we doing? I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe we'll finish up Bits and Bops, you know? I would like to finish that game eventually, so maybe I'll play something a little more action-y. I've been thinking about playing League Classic, but ugh. I don't know, that game just gets me in such a mood. And the last time I streamed League, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll PNG stream it, because I think that vibes with me. But maybe we'll do that. Who knows? I've been seeing people play Overwatch on my Twitter, so maybe I'm like, maybe I should do that too. This has been a wonderful lecture into agroastrology by Honeybear. Thank you, Bayo. Good luck with your arraignment tomorrow. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night and a wonderful rest of your week if I don't see you again, but I sure hope I do. And thank you, as always, for being here with me on this lovely Sunday night. I hope you guys are enjoying this new book. You guys could have been anywhere with me, or anywhere in this world, but you're here with me, and for that I'm so grateful. You could play Overwatch with me on Wednesday if you want. Would you like that for your birthday, Billy? Would you like? I'll reinstall Overwatch and play with you. I think I uninstalled it. ? Let me see. Overwatch. I did uninstall it, but I could re-download it. We could play together, Billy. I'm not very good, but I'll play with you. Yeah, I could go for that. You can watch me play. All right, looks like Wednesday I'm gonna play Overwatch, guys. If you're down, it's one of those games I feel bad about asking people to play. I get really upset when I play it, but I'm totally happy to do it. Okay. Have a good week, y'all. I will see you back here Wednesday. Or not. We'll see. Also, please check out the new emote. It's Toasty Grab. I got it here. Oh, shoot. I gotta get the grab the link again. One more time. I got it here from Albert OW0 on VGen. If you're interested in getting one for yourself or your favorite streamer, it is $35. If you're doing another early stream, we need notice. Not this week, because this week I am partially back to work. I have a 3-hour workday tomorrow, an eye exam, poll in the evening, and then the rest of the week I will be working regular 8-hour days. Maybe the week after that, though. We shall see. Okay. Good night and stay sweet, everyone. Bye, y'all.